It's the last day of campaigning for Monday's polls, and candidates are looking to lock in their votes with final sorties and meeting the avance. President Rodrigo Duterte says presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos lives a simple life. This is a complete turnaround from when he called Marcos Jr. a spoiled brat. The camp of Vice President Manny Robredos hit back with a cyber libel complaint after a local paper claimed that her presidential bid is backed by CPP founder Jo Masison. Now, during a meeting de avance in Cavite, presidential candidate Ping Lacson called on voters to launch a quote silent revolution. And let's hear some tips on how to deal with election-induced anxiety. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. The Comelec reminds candidates and their supporters that today is the last day of campaigns. Now, under the law, the day before and the day of the elections are not a part of the campaign period. Now, this means anyone caught campaigning after today will be charged with an election offense. The Comelec also reminds every candidate and political party that will hold their meeting de avance today to strictly observe proper health protocols. President Rodrigo Duterte softens his tone on presidential front-runner Bongbong Marcos. In an interview with SMNI, Duterte said that Marcos Jr. is a person who lives simply. This after previously calling the candidate a weak leader and a spoiled brat. Duterte also added that any money Marcos might have received from the late dictator has already been sequestered. Now, despite the fact that both BIR and the Finance Department saying they have to yet collect the Marcoses 203 billion or 203 billion pesos estate tax.
Yung pera ninakaw, hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang nakita. Marcos may konting pera na iwan. Na-sequester lahat pati yung sa Switzerland.
Meanwhile, Duterte also warned that if Vice President Manny Robredos wins, she might pardon detained Senator Laila de Lima. Duterte claimed that former Bureau of Correction officer in charge, Rafael Ragos, may have been paid to recant his statement against the lawmaker.
Itong si Ragos, pera yan. Walang tao na magpunta sa korte to swear the truth, nothing but the truth. Tapos mag-recant ka ng ganon after a few years.
Vice President Manny Robredos' camp is hitting back with a cyber libel complaint against the People's Journal. More in this report by Gerald de la Peña.
Tens of thousands of supporters gathered in Sorsogon for Vice President Leni Robredo and Senator Kiko Pangilinan's rally. Robredo admitted that at this point, campaigning can be tiring but still worth the effort.
Hindi ako kinakabahan kasi ginawa ko naman lahat. Ako na yata yung pinakamasipag. So sa akin, yung commitment ko naman na talagang tatapusin ko to, gagawin ko yung lahat.
Several local officials went up on stage to express their support for Robredo. Conspicuously, Sorsogon Governor Cheese Escudero, also guest senatorial candidate under her ticket, was not present. But in a video message, Escudero said Bicolanos will always support fellow Bicolanos. In her speech, Robredo says she is hoping that fellow Bicolanos will vote for her, not just because she is their kababayan, but because of her clean track record. Meanwhile, Robredo spokesperson Attorney Barry Gutierrez filed a complaint at the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office against a media company for publishing an article that claimed that CPP-NPA founder Jo Masison is Robredo's advisor. Robredo's camp has since denied this, as well as claims that she cheated during the 2016 elections, lambasting Bongbong Marcos' camp for spreading false information about her.
Ilang beses ko na siyang natalo sa Supreme Court. Unanimous ang desisyon, 15-0. Ang narrative niya, dinaya pa din siya. So parang wala nang redemption. Talagang ang sinungaling sa umpisa, sinungaling hanggang kahuli-hulihan. Kawawa yung mga Pilipinong napapapaniwala niya.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
Vice President Manny Robredos spokesperson Manny Gutierrez said they will continue to fight the allegations of news site People's Journal against the Vice President. Gutierrez has now filed criminal complaints of cyber libel and libel against the news site after it claimed that CPP founder Joe Masison is Robredos' advisor. Gutierrez said these allegations are completely false and that no one reached out to their camp for any comment on the matter.
Ito talagang this crossed a line, diba? Hindi ito vlogger, hindi ito some random influencer sa social media na naglalabas ng paninira. Ito ay supposedly isang respectable member of the journalistic profession. Kasi ano man namang maging resulta ng eleksyon sa Lunes, kailangan natin ng responsableng media. Kailangan nating tumindig para sa katotohanan.
The Lacson-Soto tandem called for a, quote, silent revolution of voters during their meeting de Avance yesterday. Presidential aspirant Ping Lacson and his running mate Tito Soto stood in front of 50,000 Caviteños and urged them to vote for their tandem. Lacson, a Cavite native, is banking on the support of his fellow Caviteños in the elections. He called on to them to silently revolt and shade his name on the ballot. Meanwhile, Soto vows that a government under their tandem will actively engage the public.
Ito po ay isang tahimik na revolusyon na kung saan ang ating gamit ay ang ating mga panulat upang i-shade sa balota ang mga pangalan ng mga dapat at karapat-dapat na mamuno sa ating bansa.
Ayaw na po namin yung old style, luma. Puro parali-rali, hindi mo naman naririnig kung anong pinagdadaanan ng mga kababayan. Ayaw na namin noon. Gusto namin bagong politika ang kailangan natin sa Pilipinas. Walang korupsyon. Ang pera ng gobyerno dapat ibigay sa taong bayan. Budget reform, masagot po namin.
Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao also held his first meeting de Avance in Cebu yesterday. Now, speaking to the crowd, he again referred to his candidacy as a revolution of the poor. He vowed to provide houses for the poor and to increase minimum wage, and once again reiterated that he will throw corrupt officials in prison if elected. Some artists were present in the event, including Freddy Aguilar, Mito Yonting, Eddie Gutierrez, Annabel Rama, Rufo Gutierrez, Sara Labati, and Richard Gutierrez. Pacquiao will be having his second meeting de Avance in his hometown, General Santos, tonight. Now, as Election Day draws near, talk of election anxiety has begun online as netizens express their fears and excitement for Monday. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us some tips on how to deal with this election-related stress.
Elections, in a way, are meant to feel empowering. After all, the public gets to put in their hands the fate of the country. But for some, instead of giving off positive energy, polls actually result in what is now known as election anxiety.
But what is it exactly? Doc Joanne says it refers to the feeling of fear due to uncertainties during election season. This tends to have a mental and emotional effect.
Nawawala ang focus, concentration, attention span, apektado also ang memory. Nagkukos na siya ng conflict with our loved ones, with our friends, with our colleagues sa trabaho.
Kyle, a senior executive in an e-commerce company, even found herself having difficulty breathing.
Maiisip mo, hala ilang araw na lang, election na. Tapos wala kang magawa. Parang gusto mo na lang na dumating na yung araw na yun. Nagkakaroon ka ng times na maiiyak ka na lang.
Another factor that can trigger this anxiety is the overload of election-related information from social media, including the proliferation of fake news. That's why, as per Sid, a social media break is necessary.
Mas ina-isolate ko yung grupo, yung sarili ko sa kanila. Kumakain ako mag-isa. Mag-break ako, early break.
Along with this, turning off your phone's notifications is a big help to refrain from checking updates and engaging in political conversations.
May mga members na nagtatag ng @everyone, so everyone will be alerted of something important or not important. Kapag may nagtatag sa akin ng at everyone, parang yun, mas kinakabahan ako agad.
But above all, experts stress that awareness and positive mindset are key to control election anxiety.
While it is our responsibility to vote wisely on Monday, do not forget that we owe it to ourselves to also take good care of our mental health. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.